It is Super Bowl 57, Radio Row, the Chiefs and the Eagles set to square off. I am joined by longtime ESPN anchor now with Caesar Sportsbook, Trey Wingo. And Trey, this is a game that I have had a lot of trouble trying to get my head around here. Yeah. When you're thinking about, okay, what am I really excited to see this Sunday in the game? What is it?
I think the most important thing is that the two best, most consistent teams are here. And that's so rare, right? Yeah. Like, they're the only two teams that went 14-3. You have a really good defense, a really good offense. They were the most consistent teams all year. It's the first time we had both number one seats in Super Bowl 52. But even that year, you know, the Vikings were 13-3, as were the Eagles. It was a tiebreaker. The Steelers, as well as the Patriots, they played head-to-head, were both 13-3. So they, you know, the Patriots were the tiebreaker. These were by far the best two teams. And I don't want to hear from Buffalo fans, well, we could have been. No, you lost at home to the Bengals. You won't win it on the road on Monday night to the Bengals. These are the best two teams, and that's a rarity, and that's why this game is so close.
I look at a lot of the matchups and I'm going, okay, Philly's got this great offensive line. They've got this all-time pass rush, really good secondary, awesome skill players. And Kansas City, it seems to me, has Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Like, is it more complicated than that?
It is a little, because I think the Eagles' defense has been great from week 1 to week 18. The Chiefs' defense has been much better down the stretch. They play up to 7 rookies at times on defense. And they've gone 5 straight games without giving up more than 1 touchdown pass. You know, for a while, the only guy, the quarterback that didn't have at least 2 touchdown passes against him was Malik Willis in that Sunday night game at Arrowhead, which went to overtime. Those Chiefs rookies have really stepped up. And it's not just the secondary with Williams and Watson and McDuffie and Cook. Karlaftis has got 7 sacks in his last 6 games, had one in the AFC Championship game. The Eagles' defense has been great from week 1. The Chiefs' defense has evolved into a much better defense. They got 2 picks from Joe Burrow. They sacked him 5-6 times in that game. The Chiefs' defense is a lot better now than it was then. The Eagles' defense has been consistent from week 1 to week 18.
This is a question that I've been wrestling with here. Patrick Mahomes, we know that he's on the path to sort of all-time greatness. Right. But he also has a Super Bowl loss on his resume already. Andy Reid, you know, before he came to Kansas City, he was the guy that couldn't win the big games in the NFC Championship game. Is Patrick Mahomes getting number 2 in a year that he also is going to win the MVP, by the way?
Yeah.
A bigger story than if he loses another one of these games?
That's a really good question, Peter, because I'm a big believer that Mahomes' legacy will be intact over the next 10 years. I believe this is a legacy-defining moment for the Chiefs. You know, the Packers of the 60s, Steelers of the 70s, Niners of the 80s, Cowboys of the 90s, Patriots of the aughts and the 2010s. This is their moment to say, this is our time. We are the definitive best team of this generation. And I think they're acutely aware of that. And I think that it's more about this team than it is about Reid or Mahomes in the long term.
And they're D forward offsides from going to and probably winning another one of these things. So
Correct.
When we talk about dynasties, that's
Correct.
part of it too. One of the big stories of Radio Row, I can't talk to anyone without them asking what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. The Raiders piece.
Do you feel like this is Groundhog Day for you, right? Like,
yes.
I feel like the Chiefs have been here 3 times in 4 years. This is the 3rd straight year you guys have had to deal with Aaron. What's he going to do after he gets out of his dark house, you know?
Well,
what's that about, by the way?
It feels like I'm in a dark house right now. We're all in the dark. He is leaving. It's like a beautiful metaphor, right? That he's leaving us all in the dark here. I was talking about this the other day. What do you think is the best football situation for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, he doesn't want to be a part of San Francisco. He still holds that grudge. Why would you not think? Why would a running back not want to work for Kyle Shanahan? Why would Aaron Rodgers not want to go to San Francisco? You have a great offensive line. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have really good functional wide receivers and a really good defense. Why would you not want to go there? Yeah. Like, you are, if he goes to the 49ers, to me, they are automatically the team to beat in the NFC. Automatically the team to beat in the NFC. But Aaron is very strange. And he holds things, as you well know, like forever. And if he's still upset with them not drafting him, get over it. If you're going to play at this point in your career, aren't you playing to win? Don't you want to be in the best case scenario? What's a better scenario for Aaron Rodgers than San Francisco? I can't find one.
I think the Jets are sort of like 49ers light.
Why would they?
Light?
But I mean, like, that sounds great, but like, they're the Jets, okay? They do this all the time. And if you're Aaron Rodgers and you hold a grudge, really? You're going to go the same place Brett Favre went? Like, really? You're like that line from Sarah Marshall. This is actually happening. We are actually going to let this happen? I cannot imagine that. I cannot imagine that.
Well, it would be great television. I know that for sure.
Correct.
So this is something that I've been trying to wrestle with. Let's say this is the last time we've seen Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay Packers uniform.
Yeah.
How will you remember his tenure as a Green Bay Packer?
Honestly, very successful, but lacking, right? I mean, like, at least Favre went to 2, won 1, lost 1. I'm curious, actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to know what Packer fans think if in consecutive years the contract they gave Rodgers cost them Devontae Adams, and then Aaron's like, F it, I'm out. Like, that's a double you-know-what on the way out the door, and I'm curious how that's going to sit with the Green Bay faithful.
I think there's already a group of fans that are saying, we've had enough.
Yeah.
We're ready to see something else. Now, I think, like in 2021, we have the whole spring of discontent.
Right.
But then he goes out, he's beating the Bears, he's saying, I own you, and he's winning MVPs, and everyone's like, oh, this guy, like, we love this guy. But then now we're here again, and it does feel like not only are we here again with Aaron Rodgers, we're here again with another great quarterback, a guy that said, I never want to go out like Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. I do think there's part of him that goes, well, Brett went to New York and couldn't win. I'm going to go to New York and prove I can.
Yeah, maybe. But again, like, if you were, that's actually a really good point. I hadn't thought about it that way. I just, like, if you were so adamant to not be Brett Favre, why would you do that, right? I'd go.
Why would you do a lot of things in that case?
Correct, but I mean, like, for example, it's not an accident that Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. They were a really good team who were just 30 interceptions away the previous year from being really good. And oh, by the way, I'll bring my good friend Rob Gronkowski. He doesn't have to bring anybody to San Francisco. Like, I would appreciate I'm going to do it where Brett Favre couldn't do it. But that other team, they're way better. They're way better. And it's ready-made for you, man. And if you want to go out on top or have a chance to go out on top, that's the best scenario by a mile. It's not close.
All right, I can't let you go without making a prediction here. Who wins Super Bowl 57, Chiefs, Eagles?
Well, listen, there's a reason it's a 1.5 point spread, and it's probably going to be pick 'em by the time the game rolls around. All the money came in early on Philadelphia because of the injuries. Chiefs are getting healthier. Nothing would surprise me in this game. Like, there's no outcome that would surprise me. But at the end of the day, to me, the Chiefs, as I said, this is their moment to take it. And much like Patrick was sick of hearing about Joe Burrow and Burrowhead and all that kind of stuff, you can't beat him. On one leg, the one play he needed to make, he made it. I think they find a way to do just enough to win a second Super Bowl and put them in the dynastic discussion.